Hello folks, this is Ted White, and today I'm going to show you how to create an electric text animation with sound effects in CapCut PC. Now I'll be showing you 3 different animations with 3 different sound effects, and I'm going to show you how to properly sync the animation with the sound effect for each one. I get my sound effects from Pixabay. I simply type what I'm looking for in the search bar, click on the one I like, go to its home page, copy the URL, I paste it in my notepad, and then from there, I paste it in my YouTube video description as I upload my video. All right, folks, let's check it out. So the first thing we'll be doing here is we'll be importing the sound effects that we'll be needing for this particular tutorial. So how we're gonna do that is we're just gonna, for media here, highlighted, we're gonna go under import and we're just going to hit this import icon right here. From there, we're going to just go here and I'm gonna show you how to import a folder. You're just gonna highlight the folder and select import folder. And this folder, if we double click on the folder, it contains all 3 sound effects that we'll be using for our electric text effects here. Okay, so I just double click the folder and we have all 3 of these. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to add a black screen. Now this is optional, you don't have to, but I'm gonna add a black screen background here, okay? And how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna go to library and then I'm just going to type in black. So B-L-A-C-K, screen, hit enter. And then I'm gonna go to type and I'm gonna go to photo because it doesn't matter if it's a photo or video for a black screen background, and I'm going to add this to the timeline. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit longer in length, and how I do that is I'm going to click on the edge, hold the click and drag it until it's 10 seconds, which it will show up here. Okay, and then the next step is I'm going to add the first text layer to the timeline. So I'm gonna click on the text tab up here on my left, all right? And then I am going to click on this blue circle right here to add the text layer. From there, I'm gonna go up here under text, there's basic default text. For this purposes of this tutorial, I'm gonna change this to electric effect, okay? I'm gonna put it all uppercase. So E-L-E-C-T-R-I-C space effect. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the font to one that I like. So you can change your font to whatever you want. So I'm just gonna click on system here and I'm gonna choose Poets in 1. And then from there, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit until I see the background. And I'm gonna click on this. First things first, I'm gonna change the color so I can see what the background is. And I have red. I'm gonna round it. So I'm gonna choose this option right here. And then I'm going to go over here and customize it the way I want it, okay? So you can do whatever you want here, obviously. I'm going to totally round it for myself. I'm going to take the height away, take the width away, offset the Y a little bit, and offset the X a little bit as well. And then just to make the text pop a little bit, I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna add a shadow to it, okay? So this is what I want here. The next step with the text highlighted, I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger. I almost forgot. So I'm just gonna increase the size a little bit of this text. So I'm going to click on one of the 4 corners here. So we have all of these 4 balls. You just click on one of them and then you just increase the size, all right? And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna animate this text. So we're gonna do our first text animation or electric text animation. So I'm gonna click on the animation tab. From there, I am just going to scroll down and I am going to look for electric light. And here it is right here, okay? So I'm going to click on this and it automatically defaults to 0.5 seconds in duration. So what I'm gonna do for this particular effect is I'm actually going to click on this right here and drag it to the right. So that makes the animation effect just as long as the text layer itself. And what I'm gonna do, so since we have that, this gives a pretty cool effect and it looks pretty good, but the only thing is it's missing sound. So in order to add the sound, we're gonna go over here to Media. And we're gonna go to the Media tab, we're gonna go Import, and we're gonna go to our sound effects. Now the one that I'm gonna be using for this particular animation is Electric Sparks, okay? And it's gonna be this one right here. So I'm gonna drag it and drop it down to the timeline. Okay, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in on the timeline, so you can hold down on Control and hit plus on your keyboard once or twice here, and there we go. I'm gonna hit the right arrow key a couple of times, and we're just going to get rid of some dead airspace. So 1, 2, and then maybe one more. Nope, right about there is good. And then I'm gonna delete left of the playhead here, okay? And how I'm gonna do that is just hit Q on my keyboard and boom, left, it's been deleted left. Then I'm gonna click, drag this to the beginning, and then we're gonna play this, see what it sounds like. Okay, so as you can see, this is just too long. So I'm gonna show you a couple of tricks here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the playhead, start at the beginning, and then I'm gonna hit the right arrow key a few times, and I'm gonna look at the preview screen and see where the electricity starts visually on the preview screen, okay? So I'm gonna hit the right arrow on my keyboard a few times. Go ahead a few frames, and I can see a little bit of electricity right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the sound effect, highlight it, hold the click on it, hold the click, and take it to where the playhead starts here. Okay, so where the electricity starts. And then I'm gonna play it. Okay, and then I'm gonna actually move the playhead to where the electricity ends. So it appears to be right about here because I can see a piece right here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete right. And how I do that is hit W on my keyboard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fade out on this particular portion, and how I'm gonna do that is I'm actually just going to drag this. So we're looking for this icon right here, okay? So once it gives the left and right arrows together, that means we can do a fade out. And we're just gonna bring it to like 0.1 second, just that area right there. So it's showing just about that. It doesn't have to be perfect or exact. And we'll just try to match this with the fade in as well. So we're looking for the left and right arrows here. And this will be the fade in and the fade out. So once again, this is 0.1 roughly, okay? And you can also change it up here as well for fade in and fade out. Just up here, you can just type it in, all right? So let's play this and see what it looks like. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So that is the first electric text animation effect that we have here. Let's try the second one here. So I'm just gonna zoom to fit timeline. So we can hold down Control and hit Z as in, or we can hold down on Shift, sorry, and hit Z as in zebra, and that will zoom to the fit timeline. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna copy this text layer right here. So I'm gonna hold down on Control and hit C. And then since I have the playhead where I want the next text layer to be, I'm gonna hold down on Control and hit V. Okay, so after copying it, what we're going to do is we're actually going to change the animation. So we're just gonna go here to animation. It's gonna show electric light, and we're actually going to scroll up and change it to laser cut. Okay, now it's automatically put to the length, same length, which is 3 seconds in the duration. If you need to change this at all, you can just highlight this and put whatever value you want to put in there, okay? But so now we have the second electric text animation. What we're going to do is we're going to put the sound effect that matches with this particular text animation. So I found this one. I'm just gonna click on it, drag it down to the timeline, make sure that I see the blue vertical line here. That means it's matched up with this. What I'm gonna do is zoom in on the timeline. So I'm gonna hold down on control and hit the plus icon a couple of times, and I'm gonna rinse and repeat the same process that I did for the first text animation. So I'm actually just gonna go to here and hit Q, and that deletes the first portion of it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hit the right arrow, and there is the first sign that we have of electricity. So that's easy. So it will start when the electricity starts on the preview screen, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play this out. It goes up and down about 4 times. So actually what I want is I want to take this until it gets to a down point, and then I'm gonna cut right. Okay, so I'm only gonna use a portion of this sound effect, but then I'm gonna change the speed of the sound effect and make it so that it's as long as I want to make it. And I'll show you how to do that here. So first thing, I'm gonna cut right here, everything right of the sound effect. And how I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna make sure the sound effect is highlighted, and I'm gonna hit W. So I hit W. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here, and in order to change the speed initially, you go to speed and you just hit a value here and change it. You can put up 1 or down 1. It changes the value, but what it does is it brings these particular icons right here. And with these icons, you can actually change the speed right on the timeline, okay? So I'm gonna just take this, and you got to make sure it's the right and the left arrow up here, and it's hovering over the speed, which is this hump right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the speed a little bit, and I'm going to play this, and I'm going to put it where I want it to end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the last bit of electricity. So we got electricity this whole time, and I'm just going to look until the last little bit is on the screen, and that is right about here. And then right there, okay? And then what I'm going to do is then I will change the speed, okay? So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to drag this all the way over so it hits the playhead, okay? Because that's when I know the electricity ends. I'm gonna hold off the click, there we go, and let's play this and see what this sounds like here and looks like. Okay, so it kind of suddenly ended there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to do a fade out for this as well, okay? So I'm just going to make sure I see the left and right arrows. I'm gonna zoom in on the timeline here a bit, just so that it's easier to see. And what I'm trying to do is do the fade out, okay? And I'm going to change the fade out to 0.1, and I'll do the same thing. I'll do a fade in as well. So I'm just dragging this back, and then I'm looking for this dot right here, and the right and the left arrow on the dot, and I'm going to make it so that it is 0.1 as well. Okay, so I'm going to zoom to fit timeline, and how we do that is we just hold shift and hit Z as in zebra, and then I'm going to press play. So I'll just play it from the beginning. Okay, so I like that. It looks pretty good. So let's get to the last electric text animation effect. So what we're gonna do for this one is we're gonna rinse and repeat the exact same process here. So we're just going to go to the text here, and we're going to highlight the text box. We're going to put Control C, and then where the playhead, where we want the next text effect to start, we're going to put Control V. Okay, so that looks good. So then we're gonna go up to our right here. Beside text, there's the animation tab, and I'm just going to click on that. And the last one that we did here is laser cut. So we're actually gonna scroll down, and we are looking for electric light 2, which happens to be right here, okay? So I'm gonna click on this one, and it's automatically going to generate here, and it's going to be 3 seconds long, which is what we want for this particular tutorial. Remember, if you want to change that, you can either change it by the slider here, or you can just manually change it by the up and down arrows right here, or you can change this value with your keyboard, okay? So what we're gonna do here is we are going to bring in the sound effect that coincides with this particular animation. So we're just gonna go over here, and it's gonna be this one right here. Now it's quite loud. I am gonna have to put the volume down on this one. So I'm gonna click on this, drag and drop it down to the timeline, okay? The next thing I'm gonna do is I am going to take the playhead, move it forward a bit, and then I am just going to hold Control and put plus a few times to zoom in on the timeline. And then I'm just gonna move to right about here. That's where I want. I'm gonna put Q. So I'm gonna hit Q on my keyboard to delete everything left, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scroll ahead here, and I'm gonna look for the first sign of electricity, which is right about here, okay? Let me just hit the left arrow on my keyboard and take a look here. So nothing there, and then there's electricity right here. So I'm going to click on the sound effect, make sure it's highlighted, drag it, so hold the click and drag it over till I see the vertical line here, and that means it's starting at the playhead. So perfect. That timing's perfect. I'm gonna zoom out on the timeline. So I'm just going to hold down on Control and hit minus a couple times on my keyboard. Now, as you can see, this is too long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to scroll ahead here to this point, and then I'm going to zoom in on the timeline again. So hold down Control and hit plus. And then I'm gonna go like that, and I'm going to hit W. So that will delete everything right of the playhead. So I'm gonna hit W. So now we've got this good amount here. So what we'll do, let's just play this and see what it looks like. We're gonna have to adjust the speed, okay? So let's play. Okay, that's way too loud. So what I'm gonna do is just zoom back out. So I'll zoom to fit the timeline, Shift Z. So I'll hold down on Shift, Z is in zebra. And then what I will do here is I'm gonna bring the volume down. So you can do it here, up here. So you could just bring it down with the slider over here, okay? So I'm gonna bring it down to, let's say, -5. Still pretty loud, so -7 or so. And then what I will do is I'm going to go and find where I see the last bit of electricity on the screen, okay? So I'm gonna just go forward here, and it seems to be done. I'm gonna go back until I see a bit of electricity on the screen. Nothing yet. There, right about here. Right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to change the speed. So I'm gonna highlight the sound effect, and then I'm gonna go to speed, and I'm just gonna adjust it either up or down, it doesn't matter. So let's say up, and then that brings these icons here, which I pointed out earlier in the tutorial. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click, okay? And then it says the speed, and I'm gonna drag it to the left until it meets this right here, okay? And that's what I want. Let's play this and see what it looks like. The last text effect. Okay, so let's just play this one more time. Okay, and if you wanted this to be longer, you could definitely make this longer. So I could increase the text here, and then for this one, it seems kind of short. So I'm gonna increase the text box, and then I'm also going to increase the animation. So I'm gonna go to animation, I'm gonna move the slider, okay? And then since that's the case, the electricity will end a little later. So it'll end right about there. I'm gonna click on this, and then I'm going to click on the speed with the right and the left arrows here where it says speed. I'm gonna drag it over, and then I'm gonna play it again. Still a little bit fast, but you get the point. So let's just play this whole thing. I'm gonna put it on full screen. We'll play the whole thing, and let's check it out. All right, folks, so that is how you create a electric text animation in CapCut PC. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.